I'm Allison, and this is yet another first for little Nellie. And me, actually. I've never taken a pup paddleboarding before, so it'll be a learning experience for all of us. But what is familiar today is the North Cascades, specifically the Diablo and Ross Lake area. We'll be paddleboarding almost a whole lap around Diablo Lake, and maybe scoping out some spots to return with an overnight bag someday. Today, though, we're keeping things simple and slow while the little one here gets her sea legs. Now, I've been on a lot of paddle trips, but none with a passenger on board, so we started out at the Thunder Knob Trailhead Beach across the road from the Colonial Creek Campground, another favorite spot of mine, by just sitting around on the beach. Then we moved on to the board, and then put on the life jacket, another first for Nellie, and then strapped in for the ride. While she seemed a bit concerned while I started paddling away from shore, recall from our visit to the Oregon coast that Nellie doesn't much appreciate water, but she chilled out after about 30 minutes. Looking back on it, I should have brought some more treats and maybe some peanut butter to smear on the board, but an occasional stick floating by seemed to also satisfy. The Ross Lake National Recreation Area and the North Cascades National Park is full of jewel-colored lakes, challenging hikes, and often lots of mushrooms. It's home to some of my all-time favorite hikes and go-to mushroom hunts. All that is surely buried under the snow by the time you watch this, but one day I'll take you on a terrestrial journey. I've actually driven all the way here, a couple hours from my home, a number of times intending to paddle this lake, only for the weather to change and the waves to pick up. I learned earlier is better here before the afternoon winds blow in. So that means we get up pretty early, or try to reserve or luck into a spot at Colonial Creek Campground. Today I spotted a few places, though, that look like a good overnight trip. When I finally do come back with a backpack and my fins, you dummy Allison, you forgot the fins for the paddleboard. These are campsites you can't hike to, which is really appealing to someone who likes to keep to themselves these days. I have a ton of really fun memories from spending all kinds of time in this particular part of the North Cascades corridor, like summiting Sourdough Mountain with my hiking buddies and Isis on a 4th of July weekend camping trip, and the food we cooked on the fire after when we were hiker hungry. Nothing, I tell you, nothing tastes better than whatever it is you're eating after a hike like that. Drive up the road a few minutes to find the East Bank Trailhead, and at the right time of year, you have a gateway to a mushroom wonderland, and some stunning backpacking trips around Ross Lake that could take you all the way to Canada. Drive even further up the pass, which is closed now and all winter until usually around May, and you find some larch hikes that might look familiar. There's some fun alcoves and islands to land and explore on Diablo Lake, or just some resting places to dig out your snacks without fear of tipping over due to an excitable and very food-driven puppy. Nellie's squirminess is also why, in addition to my forgetfulness about my fins, I stayed seated for a good deal of this one. I've heard really good reviews from my friends who've stayed at the Ross Lake Resort, accessible only by foot ferry after a 1-mile hike from the Ross Lake Dam trailhead, or by just foot, continuing another 2.5 miles across the dam. And while you're out there paddling, watch out for the ferry. They don't slow down for paddlers. Today, you might notice a bit of haze in the air. It's been that way in the summer here for a few years now, with wildfires burning to the east and even devouring my beloved Sourdough Mountain Trail last year, just as I was about to hike it again. So pay attention to the reports before you head out, lest you maybe be disappointed. But the smoke wasn't too bad today, so we paddled on. With breaks to fish the occasional stick out of the water to entertain a bored baby, and a quick snack break, we covered 6 miles in about 4 hours. Which isn't bad considering, I forgot to bring the fins that are supposed to help you travel in a straight line. I really messed that one up. They do make a huge difference. Now, what have I learned about paddling with a puppy? Well, Nellie's a busy girl at home. That hound nose makes up most of her brain power, I swear, so next time I'll bring some bully sticks along to keep her from getting too bored. And a towel for myself, since she ended up using mine as a blanket for her onboard nap. We finished up around lunchtime and Nellie's second nap time. And just in time for another fire to break out nearby, so we had to leave immediately upon landing ashore.